Yeah, we're just letting people know that this doctor, Emil Felsky, is in here and he does abortions. He kills babies right here.
I do have a question for you.
Okay, you might want to get out of the driveway though.
How do you feel about overpopulation? The world having 7.5 billion people.
Well, there's definitely places in the United States that are not overpopulated. Like I know there are states like Texas that have lots and lots, miles and acres and acres. Yeah. So I don't think we're as overpopulated as people want us to believe that we are. But
is any place in the United States overpopulated?
The whole world. I mean, did you ever get out here in rush hour traffic? You know how it is?
You might think that's overpopulation. It's really, there's so much space to live in.
But why do you want to have more and more? Don't we have enough people?
But so why do we get to decide which people get to stay and which people have to go?
Because we are the ones we have to have some intelligence. If we just keep breeding like rats over and over and over, we've got all these fat, stupid Americans running around. They're all over the road. They're cutting us off. The soil is being depleted. They're growing genetically modified food, poisoning everybody because the population is going out of control. The government is trying to depopulate, and they're going to win because they know just how to do it. Isn't it smarter to just sort of, the people who exist, to sort of think a little bit and not have so many babies?
Well, if that means not having sex and not having a baby, that's one thing. But these are already babies. They're already here. They're just in the womb, but they're already babies. They're little humans.
Think about it though. Do we really need these babies? What do we need them for?
That's a horrible thing. Do we really need these babies?
Yeah, what do we need them for? Aren't there like billions and billions and billions and billions of babies? And the more babies you have, the more babies you will have. Like, did you ever try to put 2 mice in a cage? And eventually, and I did this when I was a kid, I bought 2 mice. I thought they were both girls or both boys or whatever. And before I knew it, there were so many mice in that little cage that they were eating each other. They were killing their own babies. And eventually I just had to take them and let them go. But this is what happens when overpopulation, it gets out of control.
But you know, we're not mice. We're not mice. We have been created in the image of God.
Yeah, but that's
we are humans created in the image of God. We're not little mice.
That's not true. We all have as much right to live. But if we're not mice, then we should use our brains.
Right.
If we have brains, we should use our brains.
And so if we're not in a place to be having children, then we should not be having sex.
We shouldn't have any kids anyway. I think at this point, if you're going to have any, you shouldn't have any more than one. Because we need to have less people, not more.
So you think the government should decide that we should only have 1 child?
I think we should decide that. I think we should be intelligent enough to decide that.
Do you have any children?
No, I don't. I was smart enough not to do it. Because, I mean, I could look around and see, you know, you got families, these Catholic families with 12 kids and then 37 grandkids. And it's like, you know, where is this going to end before we have 10 billion, 12 billion, 15 billion, 20 billion people on the planet?
You know, ma'am, the Bible tells us that children are a gift from the Lord. They're a blessing. Children are a blessing. So who decides which children have to die?
The intelligent mother.
Do you really mean what you're saying?
Yes,
are you serious?
I do. I'm not a religious guy, so I don't have that, like what you call a bleeding heart liberal. I don't have the bleeding heart Christian sort of.
You know, we just believe what God tells us, and God says, you shall not murder. God says for us to rescue those who are being led away to death. If there was a big old truck coming in here and it was going to hit you, you were I did when you were standing in the driveway. I told you get out of the driveway. I'm trying to protect you because we stand out here often and we see the way the cars come in here. But if a car or a truck was going to hit you, I would protect you. Because the Bible tells me, love your neighbor. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And that's what the Bible tells us to be. It's not about us deciding that there's too many people in the world, and so we get rid of all of these. You know, that's what Nazi Germany did. That's what Hitler did.
He may have had a good idea. Because think about
to gas all those Jews, he gassed 6 million Jews.
It's a terrible thing to have to gas people, right? But if there were 6 million people still on the earth, think about how many more there would be by now.
That's such a horrible way to look at things.
I know, but it's the lesser of two evils.
We don't have to choose between the lesser of two evils. And the Bible tells us, ma'am, that we were created in the image of God, and that one day every knee is going to bow. Every tongue is going to confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. And one day you're going to stand before God. You are going to stand before God, and He's going to call you to account for all the decisions you've made.
I don't understand that, but I am a good person.
You're a good person who thinks that that what Hitler did was okay.
No, I don't. I don't think I see all the sides. I see that killing 6 million Jews is a very evil and terrible thing. Right? I totally get that. But it's like if you have a house full of rats. If you don't kill the rats, they're going to start breeding more.
But these are not rats. These are babies. You look at the Amber. Look at this picture. That is a little baby. That's a baby. That's not a rat.
See, I don't favor humans over animals. I think humans can be a real big problem. We have these people with no common sense. They run around, they're rude, they cut you off in traffic. They rip people off, they rob people, they do the most horrible things, so why should I favor people?
Because God does. Because God does. God has put...
No, He doesn't.
He created Adam and Eve.
Oh, that's crazy.
And God has a plan for the human race. And God, all of us were created in the image of God, but we have turned from God and we have gone our own way.
You're only going by what you read in a book.
No, this is the Bible. This is God's holy word.
A Bible doesn't mean anything to me. It's just a book written by
But you know, when you talk about these horrible people driving around and cutting you off, you know, I could say that you're a horrible person because you think that it's okay to do this to little children.
You could say that, and that would be
fair enough. And I could say that your life is not valuable. Your life is not worthy of life. We don't have the right to say that.
If my mother had aborted me, I would have never known the difference.
Aren't you glad she didn't?
No, not necessarily. Life is a hard struggle. I struggle every day. I work my butt off. I barely have enough money to fix my car. I'm making the payments. This is a struggle. We're not doing these kids any favors by putting them here.
It's such a sad outlook on life. These are little children. They're little babies. Have you ever held a little baby in your arms?
I'm not crazy about babies. Sorry.
These are children, and this man, he kills little children. And our culture, like you, says that it's okay. You speak for our culture.
Yes,
really.
I say it's okay. I say not only is it okay, but it's desirable. Now, I don't like the idea of murdering.
It's desirable to do this to a little baby. It's desirable to do that to a little baby. You look at that little arm and that leg.
I had 2 abortions.
Okay, well that makes a lot of sense. You've had abortions. You've killed your own children.
I don't regret it because I couldn't have afforded to pay for them.
You could have chosen a forever loving home for your babies. Those were your babies that God gave you. How far along were you when you killed your babies? How far along were you when you killed your babies?
Immediately. It was immediately.
But your babies already had heartbeats. God had already put that baby there. And God, that was a gift to you that you just threw away. Your babies were likely disposed of, going down the drain, down the toilet, disposed of as biohazardous waste.
I know it sounds terrible, but there's another side to it, and that side is overpopulation, and that's the only thing that I can say. And I know you're not going to see that. You're never going to see the overpopulation problem.
Even if I believed that there was a huge overpopulation problem, I would never say that somebody gets to decide who lives and who dies. I would never say that because
Well, you know what? Maybe instead of this, you can educate people on not having too many babies. Like, maybe step up, do some speeches about people maybe having one child instead of 3 or 4 or 5 of them. That would help, and nobody would be having abortions, and then we wouldn't have an overpopulation.
what do you mean people wouldn't be having an abortion? If they only could have one baby, what do you think they would do?
Well, they would use protection.
Protection fails a lot of the time.
Well, that's all you can do.
There's
really.
no, I mean, we could be like China and have an enforced one-child law.
You should.
That's a sad thing. I'm going to pray for you because it's a horrible outlook, and I feel sad for you that your mother chose to give you life. And you, how old are you?
54.
Okay, you're 54 years old, so you have lived 54 years on this earth, and yet these children are not even given a chance at life. And it's because of people who say that we should get to determine who lives and who dies.
One of the things that you're not thinking about is the more people there are, the less resources, and you're going to have a crappier life for the people who are here.
You know, that's not true. I'm 59. That's not true. There are plenty of resources available. Yes, we need to be healthier. There are plenty of things out there that allow us to eat healthy, to live healthy lives without saying that it's okay to murder children. What's your name?
Lisa.
Lisa, I'm Allura. I will be praying for you. I appreciate your taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.